So we're gonna get on with business. 6:45.
Make a motion, to open the meeting.
Thank you.
Second.
Sam, all in favor? So the meeting is open at 6:45. Board of Appeals, May 31st. First order of business this evening is to approve the minutes of April 26th. We're gonna have to hold off on that because we don't have enough to push that through. So we're gonna get right into our first case. It's a continuation. It's a case 2021-1207A. Continuation of the case of John LeBlanc, 13 Priscilla Drive, Lakeville, Mass., who's petitioning for a modification to the permit originally issued for 1315 Main Street for a small retail landscape business with attached garage space for use by Northeast Property Services and DPT Landscaping to be used as contractor base for the storage of materials and equipment and possible use for the associated office space. We have continued this several times,
Yeah.
both on the request of Mr. John LeBlanc and just to give everybody more time. Chuck, you now have it in your hand. We all have a copy of a email sent to Amanda this afternoon from Mr. LeBlanc asking for another continuance. He says, where am I? I got the wrong one in my hand. This isn't today's. That's the last one he asked for. He's asking again, I would like to request for a continuance for my project. My request for a modification to the special permit 1315 Main Street is on tonight's agenda. I had assumed that it would be held remotely, and my attorney cannot make the in-person meeting tonight. As said, we've continued this several times already. Come on in, Mark, we'll give you this. We haven't-
Sorry, gang.
No
I
problem.
apologize.
We haven't done anything yet. We're just, you're well aware of the petition for 1315 Main Street, where he's looking to add to the already existing special permit, change the use and add some possible use in associated office space over there where the old hen house used to be. He's asking for another continuance. He sent in an email today. We've continued it several
No, I think
times.
the last meeting, we said we weren't gonna continue it again, is that
Yeah.
correct?
What I want to bring up is
We
that
did, yep.
it's been a long time, I know that.
Had people coming back and forth all the time.
Good portion of this
wasting
room
their
is here to
time.
discuss it,
Yep.
and I'm happy to accept the motion if somebody's ready to
I
make
make
it.
a motion, we deny the request.
Can we get a clarification what that means, motion denied, what does that mean?
If we deny his request for this special permit or for the change in special permit, he can't come back for, I believe, at least
I think it's
2
years.
years.
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
Okay, so he has to restart.
There is a motion, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to deny the request to continuance and to deny
Case
the
itself.
case itself, because we have given Mr. LeBlanc plenty of time to come in here and state his case. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. The decision is to deny the request for a special permit, so that should end it for,
So
as far as this board is concerned.
for 2 years.
I believe it's 2 years he has before he can come back and ask for the same thing.
In the meantime, if there's any issues with,
He would have to start a brand-new case for something else or whatever, some kind of appeals process, whatever, but you'd all be notified again. It's not gonna be continued and carried on next week, next meeting, next anytime, without a whole new
Sign against it.
So
application
the permit's
being
thrown
put
out, the
forth.
special permit's thrown out.
so the special,
This special permit is thrown out,
It's
basically?
denied.
Mhm. Yeah.
Denied, thrown out?
Yep.
Okay, just want clarification, thank you.
Okay, next case. Case 2022-0426B, continuation of the case for Rita Sweet. 32 Bosley Street, Acushnet was petitioning the board for a special permit for the board's approval on an existing accessory apartment. The original permit allowed for the construction of a 26 by 26 addition according to approval plans of a two-car garage and walk-up storage on the second floor. This request is being made under the provisions of section 334B1.
So I went to Jim's office at the board, and he said that I was in compliance with the space, and that we continued it last time on getting the space to be in compliance.
And he says you're in compliance with the
Then
25%.
Yeah,
With the
So
square
he said-
footage, correct?
yes, it's 564, he circled it right here.
Yep.
So that's the compliance for the space.
So that was our only contingency, whether we didn't want to allow it because it is already in place, but we wanted to make sure it fell into the 25% rule. So,
Make the motion we approve.
Second.
before we,
I believe so.
no, it's fine, we have a motion, a second, but we're going to allow discussion from the
Okay, I'm a
audience as well.
tenant of Rita Suite, and, I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous.
Come right up to the podium, please.
Excuse me.
If you can just state your name and
My
address.
name is Rose Cepeda, and I live at 32 Bosley Street. I rent a home from Rita Suite. We moved in 2020, and we've lived there, no problems. We always paid our rent on time. And the whole time, when we first moved in there, Rita said that she was going to, excuse me, have the light and gas on just temporarily, which what she was said. And our bills were coming up to $500, $700, light and gas. I was connected from the salon to our home. I spoke to Rita Suite several times. We've had rat infestation, we had a lot of problems. March 14th, she didn't want to do anything about it, so I called the, what do you call it, exterminator. She got very extremely mad at me, she yelling at me, saying that I wasn't taking it out of the rent, which I told her I was taking it out of the rent because it was in my grandson's room, bit the nipple off, it was actually in the house. The stink was so bad, so I called Board of Health. They told me what to do to go to court, housing court, and to hold off for the rent, which I do have her rent on the side, which we are going to court. Since March 14th, I have proof here that all she's done was make our life miserable. She's called the police several times on us. Just spiteful stuff that she's been doing. I just told her not to use. She's been using the salon. I have videos of her using the salon, which is connected to my home, the lane gas. She's renting a room out of the salon to somebody else, which the board told me was illegal, that she could not do that in the salon, which she spoke to me and she told me, it's my house. I said, well, that's my light and gas you're using. And she's like nothing's happening. They told me it was illegal for her to do that she cannot rent a home with the salon connected to the light and gas of our home. So I don't know what steps to be taken, because I just don't think it's fair that she has the salon open for business with doing illegal stuff, renting a room out of the salon, which is connected. I asked her if she can lower the rent a little bit. We pay $1,800 rent to catch up on these bills, because we literally are on a payment plan. We pay $340 a month for light and $260 on the, $340 on the light and $260 for the gas. And the bills are just, I have all the proof here. And then with her calling the cops, my mom come out of the hospital, I was taking care of my mom, she's having my car towed. Just a lot of spiteful stuff that this lady has done to us, made our life miserable. And I just think that it should be,
I'm gonna stop you there because we
Yeah, I know
have no
that has-
jurisdiction for any of this housing court stuff, any
okay,
of
so how
that.
about the light and gas?
One thing I'm gonna say is, I believe the reason we're here is because you're trying to get the other meter,
Yes,
right?
that's why I've been here like throughout the year trying to do that.
She's been coming to the board for a couple months looking for this, and the reason is because she's trying to put another meter in, I guess, to separate the stuff and do it properly, but she can't do that without the board's approval for the secondary use, the accessory apartment, which sounds like you live in?
Yeah, I live in the house. She lives in apartment above the garage, which the building inspector told me wasn't, she had no permit to build that either.
Correct, that's what we're here
Yeah.
about.
Yep.
So,
And this happened in 2019 as well, that this problem with the gas and light from the salon to the house.
we'll take what's into consideration, but again, the issue with this sounds like what she's trying to resolve. So is there any other neighbors wanna talk one way or another on the property where the
Yeah,
issues?
you can see it's a little bit of a circus at times there, you know, and,
Name
I'm,
and
I-
address, please.
I'm 33 Bardsley across the
33.
street. And I guess I could speak for the two other abutters that couldn't make it, they were at the last meeting, but they couldn't make this meeting. But
Okay.
it's the same thing, you know, I mean, there's an influx of different cars, like right now, there's 3 cars in front of my house. I mean, this is a quiet residential neighborhood. You have to ask yourself, would you want this in front of your house? You know, I mean, would you wanna come out of your house every day and see all kind of cars and this other environment that's going on, you know what I mean? It's not permitted, I believe, for that. And I mean, there's other apartments in there, besides for that apartment, there's a beauty shop. If she decides she's gonna sell this, then are we stuck with all these apartments? It's just, you know,
The
on and on,
accessory
cars.
apartment is a allowed use, and it's within compliance. I believe the issue sounds like it's more the hair salon and the traffic that provides.
It's it's not so much the salon, I don't think there's much traffic with the salon, it's just the 2 apartments, I mean, I don't think it was ever really zoned for that. And I don't think, was there ever really a permit for that, or was there
Yeah.
ever a meeting for that?
there was a permit for
There
it?
was a permit to add the space, and it is in
To
compliance.
add the space as what, as a storage space, right?
Correct, but
But what,
it's allowed use for that storage space or any space to be transformed into this accessory apartment. It's absolutely allowed throughout the entire town, not just in that
by
house.
permit, right? You have to get a permit
Excuse
for
me?
that? You have to get permitted for that?
That's what she's here for.
All right, and that's why I'm here. And I'm just asking you guys again, do you want it, would you want your neighborhood to be transformed like that? You got a quiet neighborhood, you wanna have 4 or 5 cars in front of your house in the winter time, it's a fiasco. People in and out that you really don't know, do you want that in your neighborhood? I don't, what does it do for our property value, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It doesn't seem right, so.
Anybody else want to speak?
Can I just say something?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Is there any other rebutters? Okay, Rita, yeah, you can speak, and I got a
Um,
question or two for you.
Right, so just all the cars and everything, that's from the house that I'm renting, but they've been evicted legally, and they've been summoned, and the court date's on the 7th, so there'll be no more cars once they go. So that's the house that I rent.
I was gonna say, the apartment that is in question tonight, you live in it,
Yes.
in one
That's what we're
vehicle?
changing. No,
2
my
vehicles?
son, yeah, me and
You
my
and your son?
Hello?
Anybody else want to say anything? We had a motion and a second to approve. Is everybody ready to vote?
Did you have more to say?
No, I was just saying that there's not gonna be any more cars like
Oh,
that.
okay.
The house that she's renting has cars in and out daily, all day long, so.
And again, it's your intention to get this electrical squared up, get everything
Well, that's why
separated
I'm
from the
here to get,
business.
so I can get the salon, my house, and that house all separate. And I put it, that was in the lease also, that the rent was, I was paying her cable bill and she was paying, the electric was not much. It was, that's it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We have, all in favor?
Yeah, thank you.
Unanimous.
Now I'm getting my, permit,
There's a 20-day appeal period, there's one clerk's office, after 20 days, reach out to Val, they'll get you the form, and then you can take whatever paperwork to the registry system. Okay, so if you could just sign both of those at the bottom, please. So you can keep one. Thank you. to you.
And I just bring this back and then I would,
Just call
Oh,
the-
yeah, we gotta
Just call
get
the
it
town clerk's
now. We
office,
gotta vote that now, that
and they'll issue whatever.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I talked to Jim. he was like, yeah, yeah.
But there is a 20-day appeal period, so if anybody appeals it, then it may go along, yes, so that they would appeal it to the town clerk's office.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on.
Okay, thank you.
Our next case, case 2.0220531A, case of Andrew Weigel, 10 Neck Road, Rochester, Mass., who's petitioning the board for a special permit for the property located at 1277 Main Street to be used as an automotive repair shop. This shop is being made under the provisions of 331B. Mr. Weigel?
Hi, my name's Andrew Weigel. I'm the owner of Weigel's Auto Repair, formerly J.R. Weigel and Son. I'm the fourth generation of the family business. My great-grandfather started the business in New Bedford on Earl Street in 1931, I believe it was. The building I'm in right now, I'm just renting from Alan Panic on Church Street in New Bedford. And Alan is selling the building, so I've got nowhere to go. So I was looking to relocate to the Morton building on 1277 Main Street.
What's the current use of that building?
I believe it's just storage. Mike?
Mainly storage, quality home heating works out of there. But, I'm sorry, Mike Florent. My wife owns Quality Home Heating. It used to be her father-in-law's 1277 Main Street. It's where the Martin building is located. And we just use it as storage basically because most of our work is in people's houses. So there's enough room in there for Mr. Regal to relocate his business there. And I'm sure he'd probably clean the property up a little bit, kind of weeds are overgrown and stuff, you know. So I think it would be a good fit.
Is the building set up for automotive service, or is it going to be with grease traps and all that sort of thing?
But Andy could,
That would be up to you guys. If you guys would lay down the ground rules as far as what would need to be done. It's a dirt floor in there now, so I definitely have to do work to the building before I'm able to move into it and start working out of there.
You gonna put a lift in it?
Yeah, I'm gonna put a couple lifts in there. If you guys say that I need the drains in the floor, I'll put the drains in the floor.
I don't think that's up to us, honestly. I think it's
Yeah.
Mass State Code that
Yeah.
any service station needs
Right.
to have
As
grease
expected,
traps and
so.
drains, and
Yep.
that'll be up to the building inspector. How about the, it is allowed by use. It fits into, under special permit, it does fit in. Business. Residential A district, business by special permit, line 12, automotive service stations and garages with safe and convenient street access by special permit. So if we feel that you have the right access and everything, basically the considerations are you going to be an asset to the neighborhood versus detrimental? Are you going to provide any noises? What are your hours? What do you, before we ask from the public, I want to hear from you what you're looking to do there. Is this going to be an 8 to 4 garage? What are the
Generally, I'm
hours?
8 to 5.
8 to 5.
Sometimes
6 days a week?
5 days a week.
5 days.
Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Oh, okay.
Occasionally, generally I'm always out of there by 6 o'clock, but sometimes I go just a little bit past 5, just kind of buttoning things up at the end of the day.
And never open on weekends?
Never open on weekends, no.
No Saturdays till noon or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I love my weekends.
What do you think your average, obviously you're in business and you, as you said, 4th generation. What's the average turnover? How many vehicles do you have that you're between the ones you're working on, the ones that you need to work on and can't be there, how many vehicles are gonna be on the property waiting for work or being worked on?
I'd say 95% of my work is turned around within the same day.
Okay.
Depending on what type of job it is, set up for the day, maybe like 5, 6 cars if it's a lot of easy ones. If it's bigger jobs, then it may be only 2 or 3.
So if we allowed a maximum of 6 customer vehicles, you'd be happy?
Yeah.
And how many of them would be inside versus outside?
Generally, the only ones that I keep inside are old classic cars or real high-end vehicles that a customer may request to be kept inside. Or if it's just a prolonged job, like an engine change or transmission change or
There's
something
only
like
gonna
that.
be 1 or 2 vehicles inside that you're
Right.
working on, and
Yep.
the other 4 will be out in the yard
Correct.
waiting for service.
Correct.
So, what type of signage are you planning on, if any?
Right now, the sign that I have is, it's just on the building. I'm not sure, I was gonna leave that up to, I don't know what, board would be in charge of that, what
You
would
are
be allowed.
about 20 square feet, it's not very much, it's just a
Yeah.
small sign, and that's enough for you.
Yep, definitely.
Any other questions for him before we ask the?
They're just waiting for the butters.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you about
Yeah,
it, but if you guys have questions for him first.
On the
then-
stuff that was there, I went by today, Cheryl and Mike keep all their equipment there, will that still be there?
Mike is planning on using just a small back portion of the garage, or of the Morton building, I should say. But all of the other stuff, I believe, is gonna be out of there. And I also have a letter here from Marcia, who is the actual property owner, stating that she had given my permission to be there as well. I don't know if you guys want that.
Billy owns his old place.
Yep.
That's it.
Anything to add that we don't have questions for? About us? Anybody like to speak? Come right up, let us know who you are and where you live.
Yep. My wife and I live at 1282, which is right across the street.
1282?
And I feel that this garage is going to just definitely take down our property value because of noise, cars outside. I mean, even now, you know, it's noisy on Saturday mornings. But I don't think that's fair to the people that live around. There's several of us that were all neighbors there, and I don't think it's a really good idea. It's going to hurt our property value. It's where we moved to Acushnet, so it's quiet. That's not going to be quiet.
We're hearing it's gonna be a 8 to 5
Yeah, I
business
don't
Monday
care if
through
it's 8
Friday.
to 5 or not. It's property value. Somebody's going to look at my house. They're going to say, "Oh, there's a garage across the street." I don't want the house. We don't want that. That's just not what we came to Acushnet for. We came for Acushnet for
It
quiet.
it is an allowed use, so it's.
But we live around the building.
Yeah,
It's bad enough with the heating company.
which was there
Which
when you
we've
moved
never-
in, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so that's what you came for, it's there.
It's there, but we had no idea what it was. It's not overly noisy. It is on weekends in the morning, but that can't be helped maybe.
Okay.
That can be put up with, but not a full-fledged auto shop.
Okay.
And there's other neighbors here that.
Yeah, thank you. No, I want to hear from all of you. Whoever's next, come right up, tell us where you live, please, and
1277 Main Street. I just bought the house 2 years ago. I bought the house in Acushnet to get away from Marshfield, which is way worse than this. But I bought it for the farmland also, and I don't want a garage there either.
thank you. Please.
Hi, I'm Alan Perry. I live at 1277 Main Street. I am probably the closest abutter. I can stand on my property and reach over and touch the building. I understand the automotive trade. I've been in the automotive trade for 30 years, and I also understand family businesses because I'm also a family business. But my home is my sanctuary, and I am usually home by 3:30, 4 o'clock. When I get home, it's so peaceful there, 99% of the time you can hear a pin drop. I walk around tonight in my garden. If somebody's dog is barking 2 or 3 miles away, I can hear it. It's wonderful there. I've lived there for 10 years. All of the neighbors are awesome. I've had no issues with the heating company there. Everybody has been tremendous. I am also extremely worried about property values because when I bought the house, I did my due diligence to look at what was there, what was the existing use, what was going on. And just by the nature of what a heating company does, they're never there. So I wasn't super concerned about that. Plus at the time, I think the orchard was still running a little bit. So it was basically apple and peach orchards in a garage. I wasn't super worried. I know what the automotive trade is. I know some of the noise. I know some of the issues with dealing with the hazardous waste. I know what the issues are dealing with, dealing with customers and dealing with all the regulations. And it's, I know the trade. And when I come home at night, when I come home in the afternoon, I don't know if I want to deal with it. My home is my sanctuary, and I worry about the property values because that's why I looked into that garage that was there when I moved there to find out what was going on there. Because if there was a business there, like a garage or maybe something that would be, extremely noisy, something similar, I would have looked elsewhere. But I'm a little conflicted because I understand the business and I understand family business, and I'm certainly not looking to hurt this gentleman because I've been in his position. I know what it is to have issues where you need to do something to save your business, and I feel those issues more than you could ever know. You and I could probably sit down over a beer and chat about that stuff, and Mark especially knows what I've been through. But again, when I come home, that place is my sanctuary. I deal with a lot of stress during the day, and when I come home, I can relax. And now I kind of worry down the road: is an automotive shop going to turn into towing? Is there going to be 24-hour towing? Is there going to be storage there of vehicles that were towed overnight? And now is that going to turn into some impounding? And again, I might be thinking way down the road, but I know that once you get a permit, and that area is permitted, and it's in place, it kind of opens the floodgates. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's none of my business what somebody else does with their property. I really could care less, as long as it doesn't really affect me. Do whatever you want. I really don't care. It's none of my business. But I feel that this is going to affect my property values, and usually people's homes are the biggest investments that they buy in their lives. And I'm just a single guy. I don't have a family, I don't have a wife, so I do everything on my own. I only got a little house, but that's my whole entire life there. That's about it. I'm certainly not looking to hurt anybody. If it was something that was already existing when I got there, it would be a totally different story. But we're just getting into the, hey, is this a potential thing stage? And like I said, I'm not looking to hurt anybody, but my house is my whole entire life, just like your house is your whole entire life. And that's probably my biggest concern, is my peace and my property value.
I have one question. You said you live at 1277?
1291.
1291. Thank you. I know this is at 1277.
I can stand in my yard, and the property line is here, and I can do that, and I can touch that building. I am probably the most direct.
So you're just north?
Correct. But anyway, thank you for your time. That's all I have to say. Unless you have questions for me. No.
Hi, buddy, I'm Rob Holmes, 1280 Main Street. I might not be on your list, because I didn't get a notice in the mail, but I did go to Town Hall, and they said they were gonna amend it.
Okay.
Okay? So my property's across the street. I wanna go on record, I know the folks, and nothing against the applicant or the owners. But I read the notice, and I went to the town hall, and I read the information, and the first thing that jumped out at me was the building commissioner's letter had suggested that there was a site plan to help the board and even the abutters understand this, this decision. And what I saw in the town hall, and the application and the site plan, it doesn't look like any effort to help anyone support this decision. The things that were mentioned here were, hours of operation, which were asked, lighting, maintaining rural character, no outside storage, limited to one unregistered vehicle, and of course, et cetera, et cetera. And I also read the stipulations for approval. So, yeah, it falls into consideration for approval, as you stated, but if this special permit determines that there's proposed benefits to the town, and they outweigh all the adverse effects. So I'd like to understand that. So what's the benefit to the town? We don't have enough garages? They fought pretty tooth and nail.
You're absolutely right. I have the page open. I always have it open when we're working
Yeah,
on something,
so-
special requirements. And it does have to be more pros than cons.
So they work pretty hard
Mile
together.
up the street, you've got the service station at the intersection of 18 and County Road, you've got.
Well, they worked pretty hard to shut one down right over here, near the fire station.
So you're absolutely right. Right in writing, it says that, shall not be in conflict with public health, safety, convenience, welfare, not substantially detrimental or offensive to the neighborhood or destructive to the property values, which, you've all brought up. So we are listening.
So I understand a little bit about the code, and I'm not gonna certainly speak for the commissioner, but the traps are, they're a state requirement. My next thought, and without this information here, that's why it prompts me to ask, are there bathrooms in that building? What about sanitary considerations?
All that stuff, again, that's all gotta be put in by code.
Well, yeah, it does.
In order for it
But
to
some
do
of this
it.
could have been
It-
placed in the application, because are we gonna end up with porta johns outside?
No.
The property line to that building is right up against that person's house. And I understand it may fit into the use by classification of the building. However, if they were ever gonna build a garage, it would have setbacks that aren't here. So without any of this information being, easy for me to determine whether I'd wanna support this or not, I took the liberty to go buy a garage. And, it's a garage like any other garage I would expect to see. And it looks like more than half the vehicles don't have plates on them.
One vehicle is not registered, sir.
Well, they don't have plates on them.
Yes, they do.
At the Church Street
No,
garage?
he's talking about at my
Oh,
shop.
I'm
The
sorry.
Church Street
I thought you were
garage,
talking about
okay?
Church Street.
Every bay is covered with a vehicle. There's some vehicles that are clearly dismantled, and there's cars parking up and down the road and on the sidewalk.
The ones up and down the road are not the vehicles at my shop.
Well, and I don't know, have no way of determining that, but that's what I looked at.
That's a public
with the
street,
lack
so-
of information at the town.
Right.
So I can't see how this is a benefit to the town in any way. It's certainly not a benefit to any of the abutters. It's detrimental to our property value. No one could dispute that. And there hasn't been any effort to make us feel comfortable, or make me feel comfortable to support this. And that's really all I have to say. And, I feel as though that, everybody is entitled to, promote a family business, anything like that. I don't understand that this way. I remember as a kid, that was an apple barn. And then Albert, who did my burners, used that for storage for his family business. This is a little different. So I don't think it warrants that same consideration that some family businesses do. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Can I ask just a question? So my name's Beth DeRoche, and I live at 36 Nipter Road in Rochester. So I totally understand everyone's concerns, but wouldn't you guys limit the permit? Like, so say we agreed 6 cars on the property, so then if there's 10 cars on the property, like, that's not what the permit said. Like, do you put boundaries on a permit?
Yeah, well, he had mentioned that already, putting it at 6,
Absolutely,
so-
we
Okay, okay, so he's, you know, like, I heard pretty much everyone, I stepped out for a second, but I did pretty much hear everyone's concerns. Like, it would never be a towing business, it would never be, you know,
Well,
anything.
I've seen restrictions put on special permits before, and as soon as, within a year of operating, all those restrictions went out the window and they did whatever they wanted, nothing was ever done about it.
It's likely all those
Absolutely
restrictions
true.
are on this property as well.
I understand.
They have other places you could rent, right, in the city, or?
There are, yes, but I was looking for more of a permanent location.
Yeah.
Jess is my fiance, we're looking to get married next year, and it's her family's property,
No, I
or
respect
it's her
you.
grandmother's property, so I was just looking for a more permanent location that I could invest in to help myself long-term versus paying somebody else rent and then just like this one, get this one ripped out from underneath my feet. And then as far as all of those vehicles that you pointed out, sir, there are no limitations over there. So one of those vehicles belongs to the town of Rochester, the fire department. That's a very involved job that I just haven't had time to do. So that one is sitting there. There's the crash job that's sitting there. I'm waiting for the customer to give me the title for that vehicle. The vehicle that's not registered there, that's the vehicle that a customer had just picked up or just purchased that I need to repair. So that's why it's not registered yet. And at that location, there are no limit as to how many vehicles that I can have on the property. All the side street is a dead-end street with houses up and down it. And all of those vehicles on the side street belong to the people that own those houses. And just like that building that I'm in now, if you're looking at the building from Church Street, there's a neighbor on the left-hand side, and they can reach out from their window of their house, just like you, sir, and they can touch it. Just
That
on the
doesn't
other
make
side
it
of that
right.
building.
That doesn't make it right. But
Well, I understand that, but all I'm saying is that I respect the neighbors, is all I'm saying. I'm not gonna cause noise late at night and all that stuff.
It's gonna
And as
affect
far
our
as,
property.
right,
That's the
I
main
understand
thing.
your arguments, but
I
I'm
don't
just,
want
I'm
a
just
garage
answering,
across the
I'm just
street from my
answering.
house.
Right, I understand
Period.
that, I understand
Please
that.
go someplace else.
Okay, guys.
So
I'm
it's
just
not just
answering.
you, it's
I-
people that try to enforce these things, that, you know,
I
the
understand
covenants and
that.
stuff like that. They're not saying that they're
We've
gonna
given
enforce the
everybody a chance
rules.
through the board, please. If you
Yeah.
want to speak, you got to come up to the podium and speak to everybody, please.
I had a question.
Yes.
Do you plan on doing body work that
No.
emit paint fumes or anything
No.
like that?
No.
Is there a fence on the current property?
I
There is not.
don't
Do
believe
you,
so.
do you plan on erecting a fence?
That would totally be up to the board members. I'm just trying to, and then, again, he had brought up, on the application, I wasn't even sure if we are gonna be able to get the special permit, so I haven't researched into, or I didn't put anything down on there further than that. I mean, as far as the septic system, I don't wanna use an outhouse in the middle of the winter, so.
I gotta agree with the neighbors, though.
Right.
Jim did quite clearly state that if
Yeah.
you did expect any kind of love from us,
Right.
a plan would have been nice.
Right, no.
We can't, we're here asking you questions.
Right, yeah.
And I did my best to get them out so they would know before
Right.
we started. But without a site plan, without knowing where you're gonna park the cars, I mean, the site is very congested.
It is,
There's a lot
yeah.
of buildings around
And-
it already, there's neighbors close to it, so, I mean, I am
Right.
looking, we're
I mean, I'm a
we're trying to
one-man
do our
show,
due
so I can
diligence,
only
we're
work
not pushing
on,
anything through. I wanna hear from this gentleman,
My name is Avelino Alves, I'm at 1266 Main Street.
66.
Yes, sir. And when I got the letter, my first concern was, one, property value. Two, how are they gonna divide this? One, somebody just brought it up, are they gonna put a fence? Is there gonna be a well in the ground for the oil? Are we just gonna, because everybody in that area, as you know, is all
Well water.
well water. So we don't need a spillage.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's a concern of ours, and I just wanted to make sure that if we came to this, when they sent out the letter, that there should have been more of a plan, this is what I plan to do, this is what's gonna go here, this is how I'm gonna do it, and it didn't say that. All it said is, I wanna make a garage here. That's not good enough for me.
Point about the well water is very important.
yes, and I fully understand that. I'm from Rochester
Thank you.
myself, and we have all well water.
So I'll just, no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
My name is Cynthia Paradis, 1282 Main Street.
1282.
I work from home. I keep my windows open, my doors open, so if I'm gonna hear this, it's gonna affect me with work. And I don't want a business across the street either. I don't know, maybe New Bedford, or, I don't know, it's a quiet neighborhood, and that's all I get to say. Thank you.
So we all have the only site plan we have, the overhead view, which shows a very congested property already, which we know is smack dab in the middle of residential property. Personally, I don't think we have enough information to push it forward. I guess my question to the board is, do you want to ask for more, or do you think it's, you know, don't waste this gentleman's time type of thing?
I'd like to make a motion, we put this to a vote.
Okay.
How about if we ask this gentleman if he wants to continue it and give us more specifications?
You've heard the general consensus.
Yeah.
I think you know the way this is gonna go.
So,
Do you wanna spend more time trying to make it work better, or are you happy to have the vote? I mean, I guess that's the question.
Might as well go for the vote, I guess.
Okay. All those in favor of allowing the special permit, raise your hand. We got 2 for. All those opposed? 3 against.
Thank you.
For everybody's knowledge, they needed, special permit needed a 4-person vote to move forward with only 2 votes. The motion or the variance or the special permit is denied.
Doing more for the good guys.
Thank you. I really
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
it.
We definitely appreciate it.
I'll see you again.
no.
He's safe. Help his son out.
I saw him when I went to school somewhere. There was a public in the center, High Street.
The White House.
How I stand. Everyone, all the neighbors were on the other side, and all far.
Upside down.
Yeah, the
So you guys are
opposite
here
side.
now, or you still?
No, we were in Acushnet.
Good. That's why we moved out here.
Thank you. Good school.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's an empty house now, so. Very likes you.
You worried there for a while?
No, I know all my neighbors personally. Like, I'm a pretty personable guy, and like, I didn't see anybody in here, so I'm like, oh, because I literally know. I grew up in the neighborhood as a child, so my grandfather built the house. So it was like one of those things where I went around, I talked to people, I was like, hey, and you know, everybody was like, oh, good to go. So I got a lot of well wishes and good lucks.
Okay. So, we're here for our last case. Case
Yeah.
20220531B, case of Nicholas Yell of 35 Cox Street, Acushnet, petitioning the board for a variance for 1,991 square feet to be able to construct a garage, as well as approval of proposed plans for a second floor. This request is being made under the provisions of section 331E.
Mr. Yell? So what we did is we went ahead and we had some plans made up, got some drawings done, surveying done. We ended up coming out with an overall plan to do a garage with a second floor addition. And then we also were mindful of the setbacks and all that, so we kept that in mind as well. So we stayed an extra foot away from the side, an extra 4 feet from the road. The main concern from Jim was the overall square footage. So he basically said to go before the board and see if it could be approved. We're not looking to change the overall look of the house. Even though we have a 4-bedroom ranch, it's technically still going to be a rectangle box. It's just we're adding a garage onto the side and the second floor.
So basically, it's going to stay in the overall same look of the neighborhood, because there are various different looks of houses in the neighborhood. There's some with 2-car garages, there's some with second floors as well. So I think we're still like well within that overall look. I mean, it looks like, I didn't go and survey each piece of property, but it looks like there are some sizable pieces of homes over there, consistent with what we're looking to do as well.
How close is, go ahead.
No, well, all I'm gonna say is, I don't believe the home size is the issue. As you say, there's other bigger homes in the area. It's the home size versus the lot.
Yes, that's what he brought up.
Every lot is only allowed 15% coverage, and it looks like you're
So right now we're at 12%.
substantially over.
Yeah, so we're at 12% as of right now, from what Jim pointed out. We're at 12%. And then I didn't know what constituted as in living space, because the garage itself, I didn't think was living space, is what Jim was bringing up, whereas the second floor is living space. Whereas what we're going to do with the garage is put our vehicles in it.
If I may, I went by, it's a beautiful house. According to these plans, this is the existing house here?
Yes.
Is that correct? And you're going to put a garage on the right-hand side of the second floor?
Correct, yes.
How close would that garage be to, I noticed your neighbor's house was pretty close too, but I don't know where the boundaries were.
So on the survey, that actually we're all family. So that lot that's on the side of me, that's my great aunt, which the land is actually owned by my great grandmother.
That's on Laguna Street?
That's on Laguna Street, correct.
Okay, great.
And we stayed an extra foot away from that, so we're 16 feet, because I guess the setback is 15, and we stayed 16 feet, just so we didn't run into a problem with overage. So we wanted to make sure of that. And then the setback from the street, we went an extra 4 feet back, so that we can end up putting like an apron in before you get into the garage.
Nope, answered my question, thank you.
Mhm.
I guess the challenge is you're asking for an extra 1,900 feet, is that the
Yes, sir.
1,991 square feet added on to this, is that correct?
Correct.
The
This is like this is basically what you're looking in front of you. That's like the forever home, like the home I don't want to leave from. I want to be able to retire, hopefully earlier than 65. She's got a way earlier plan than I do. So, you know, we're young and we're just trying to get it done now. And hopefully the kids can, you know, same thing like I did. I grew up there as a kid. Carry that legacy on is really what we're looking for.
So, my issue with it isn't that the house doesn't look good on the lot or any of that or anything. It's the amount that he's looking for a variance, which is, we dealt with this a couple of months ago, and we asked them to downsize it and come back and put something that was, you know, in the 50% range, and the variance he's asking for is more than the actual original use. He's allowed a 1,500 square foot home and wants to have a 3,500 square foot home. So it's not like it's close. It's not like we're saying, okay, we'll give you 150%.
Yeah, I'm not pretending that it is either. No, I know it's
50%
not
is that,
close
the
at
other.
all.
So again, very
Well, I guess-
recently, we had a case similar. And I said, listen, again, if you're asking for 50, if you're supposed to have 1,500 square feet, and you came in at looking for 2,200, 50% more, it's really not so much in our right to allow 150% variance.
Correct.
So I was speaking with, I actually spoke with Doug and Jim on this, because it seems like, you know, people are trying to work and trying to make it happen at least, you know, there's
I'd
some.
love to work with you. It
Yeah.
just sounds like a lot to me.
So the other proposed thing is there was, when we actually got the home for my mom, there's actually lot number 133, which is an additional 5,000 square feet. It's technically, it was supposed to be probated in the sale of the house, and it was an oversight. So right now, that's actually going through a probate, because it's still in my grandfather's name, but we pay the taxes on it. We've been paying the taxes on it, well, he was paying it since '68. Then my mom took it over when he passed away in '05, and then we took it over when we moved into the house. So that lot 133, which actually has my pool on it and my deck, that would be an additional 5,000 square, which imaginary, it's like there's an imaginary line there.
It
So
would bring your buildable area up to 2250.
yeah, so
And
then it
you'd
gets
be-
me a little bit closer.
Then you'd be looking for more like I'm talking about, a 50% variance,
Yes.
150%. So
So they did open the probate back up to try to draw that in because of that oversight. But the way it looks on the actual paper is that there's that hard line, you're looking like, oh, but it's a separate lot. But then when you're in my living space, my backyard, you'd never be able to tell exactly where that line is, just because well manicured grass, mulch, trees,
You've
and
expanded into that lot anyhow with your pool. right?
what's that? Yeah, so my pool
Yeah.
is on that lot, which it was permitted by Jim and by the Board of Health, and they understood that it was in my grandfather's name. My grandfather's passed away, but it's always been
This is still in litigation right now for the probate?
yes,
see,
yes. Walsh
again,
Title is handling it.
I don't have a problem with allowing it. It looks good, it fits on a lot. It's the letter from Jim that clearly states it's 150% over that I have an issue with. He writes right in it, you know, under state requirements, we don't even have the right to do it. And
So
that
I
in
guess-
itself doesn't stop me from doing it,
Mhm.
but the fact that you're asking for 250% is what, 150% over is where I have the issue. And again, because we just did one a couple months ago and said the same thing, just come back somewhere where we feel comfortable.
So on that actual application, so we kind of worded it where could we at least get the project off the ground for the garage portion? Because the garage portion at that point only ends up being 432, I believe it is. So we can at least we have the contractors waiting, we have excavation, we have concrete, never mind the massive amount of money in the surveying and plans and drawings. We're kind of at the mercy of we don't want to abandon this project because the amount of money that's invested in it already. There's quite a substantial amount of money invested just in the drawings and the surveys. And if we could at least get the okay to say, all right, let's get a garage built so we can get the foundation and get the concrete done. And then that actually allows us to have the patio put in as well, because we're still waiting on that because we can't do the patio without the foundation kind of thing. So if we could at least get the okay for the garage portion and then submit for, say, another variance to go over. It sounds like a lot more work to do that, but it's at the end of the day, it's just to justify the amount of money that we've already spent to try to get this project off the ground. It seems like it's like you spend a little bit of money or you spend a lot of money and find out what the hurdle is, and then you have to jump over that hurdle. So we could, like you're saying, meet in the middle and say, can we get the garage portion approved, get the garage at least watertight and approved and built until probate and everything happens with the next lot, then it wouldn't seem like over the top a lot of square footage for the variance.
I'm just one guy here, but we don't have an application for that, is my issue.
It's a whole different application. What it is, maybe something you would like to continue and bring us in another set of plans that would relate to us what you want to do just with the garage. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, so
Because what you put in here now is what we have to vote on. Correct, Bob?
That's what I was going to.
I kind of misunderstood Jim then because he had actually put to construct the garage in excess of the floor area ratio, so the variable of 236 square feet would be required. But then there's a hash mark with an additional request per the board's approval for the second floor. So he kind of compartmentalized it, so I can at least get my foot in the door for the garage portion and say, hey, can we get this project off the ground?
Jim did give us the numbers here, I'm reading on the application, to allow just for a 236 square foot variance. So we could vote on that. It is here, it's in the application, it's in the writing, so. And I was confused on this because when I read this, I saw it's a 268 square foot variance.
Yeah,
No big
originally
deal.
when Jim
But then
saw
I'm
it, he
starting to
was-
read everything, and I'm saying, it's not even close to the 1,900 square foot variance.
That's exactly what happened to
So-
Jim. Jim was like, "Oh yeah, this shouldn't be a problem," and then I got a denial letter, and I'm like, I go down there, "Hey Jim, what's going on?" He's like, "You know, when I looked at your plans, I didn't realize." He's like, "I was looking at just because you looked at just the garage, and you're like," and then he's like, I was like, "Holy moly, there's a lot more to this."
Because you're at the
So-
second floor over.
Yeah. So then he was like, "Well, hey, listen," and then when I talked to Doug as well. They're like, let's at least try to get your foot in the door. Let's try to get this to happen, and then we can take it from there and let all the eggs fall in a row to see if we can get the probate for the additional square footage in the backyard, and then come back and say, hey, can I go this way now with it? Because realistically, like the main important part of this whole entire build is the garage, just so we can put the car in it.
So
Legally, can we extract?
what I'm
that?
reading is that if everybody would like to, if the board agrees to grant, we could grant a variance for 236 square feet.
Which allows the garage.
And all that would do is allow them to construct the garage and do that.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, I'll second that.
So we're gonna take the 3.31, E5, get rid of all that, and just go to construct a garage in the excess?
Basically, we're giving him a variance to go 236 square feet over what he's allowed.
Is that legal?
That what you're asking for, right?
Yep.
You'll just have to reapply when you're ready to do the other work for the second.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a motion and a second, and it sounds like you're in favor of accepting that. And there's no other abutters who want to talk about it? You're with him?
Doesn't look like it.
So, all in favor of the variance to allow an additional 268 square foot over what's allowed?
Aye.
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 Unanimous.
Awesome. We appreciate it.
So,
Make a motion to
you
adjourn?
can put in your foundation, you can put in your garage, but you gotta, my advice would be to get that piece of land through the
Probate,
planning,
yeah.
Yes, that's,
and to the planning board so that it looks as one lot.
yeah, Walsh Title is
You know,
handling
so
that.
now
And
you
I
have
already
1,500 square foot, not 1,000.
And I reached out to John at Zenith as well, the surveyor, to, like, because everybody's pretty much on board. Like, it's been well communicated, so this is awesome. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, we just
You
need
have to sign some papers.
Sign both of these, one's for you, one's for me. It explains the 20-day appeal period, and after the 20 days, you can reach out to the town clerk's office, and they'll get you what you need to bring to the registry. Okay. Oh, one for you, that for you. There you go. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Any further business?
Just get
You
it.
do the minutes already?
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're still
Yeah.
in meeting, and we have one more order of business before we conclude here. I put off accepting the minutes.
The April meeting?
Where is it?
From April 26th.
April 26th, is that it?
Yep.
Yep.
Motion to approve the minutes as printed.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good. And a motion to adjourn, please, unless anybody has any other business.
Motion to adjourn.
Next meeting, or still tell us, right?
Do we have other business, or are we done at the moment?
Do you have anything come in, Kara?
No, nothing came in.
So we don't need to schedule
Enjoy your July
another
off.
meeting?
I mean, your June.
At the moment?
No.
Sign this, okay?
But if we have something in,
Nothing's continued.
Ms. Costco will let us
Yeah.
know, and I'll keep you guys
Yeah.
in tune.
We'll know by the first week of June.
Thank you for
Next-
getting here as
next
quick as you
Monday.
did, appreciate it.
I was coming down the highway and she's calling me up. I'm like,
Sorry.
oh, I guess I can
And
go right
I
now.
apologize.
Thank you, Tom, for being here. You,
I didn't think I was
We'll
gonna
know
make it.
by Monday at noon's the deadline to make it,
okay.
but that would still be for a July meeting.
Uh,
You adjourned?
We got a motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.